Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum, which you should definitely all join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. I'm going to do a very quick shout out to some of my Patreons. As watching the last few shows, you'll know that I'm very, very pleased with the support I've been getting off Patreons, as I've managed to buy myself a new car. So apart from it being a bit mechanically wonky, it's still very, very, very welcome, as it won't slow me down as I start taking my second child to classes and such. So shout out to Alistair Main, shout out to Dank, shout out to David Wayne Foster, a shout out to Jeranism and Kirsten Smith, Matt, Michael, Paige, Renee, Sam, Tina, and I think that's pretty much it. So a massive shout out to all of my Patreons. I'm going to raise the mic on the Google Plus Hangouts on it, and you can enjoy the dulcet tones of whoever is in there while I set up for the first live show.
Yep.
Hello.
Yeah, Paul will be right back.
Good timing.
Yeah. Yeah, there was an article I just picked up on, and I've been following these. They don't put it right on the front page of whatever news site you go to, but it's after a few stories, and it's always got to do with the moon landing somehow. And this one today came up. It's actually in the English paper called The Express. And it's talking about something that almost derailed Neil Armstrong from going to the moon. I mean, it's taking it back to a X-15 test flight that he had prior, I think like 2 years before he actually supposedly went to the moon. So they recalled this story, and they got all these images and pictures just to keep it in front of the Shapil's eyes.
I'm back for the moment anyway.
Oh, sorry, was I making a load of noise while I was off mute? My bad.
No, I was just talking and nobody was listening. So, Paul, you talking or you're muting?
I'm trying to. Well, this is you hear in the background. That's why I've been on mute. Lily's deciding to be very needy at the moment, so that's why I'm on mute. And also trying to get Alice out the door. So
Go ahead, go back on mute.
Out on the riveting conversation while I'm making my coffee, eh?
No, Paul's got background noise. I was talking to you, but you didn't hear me, so I've been kind of standing alone.
You've been doing well. I could hear you from the kitchen, and then until there was a gap.
All right, yeah. So I was talking about the articles that keep popping up about the moon landings, just to keep it in front of everyone's eyes. This one's today in the Express, the English paper, And moon landing bombshell. Neil Armstrong, shocking mistake revealed in lost records. Like, what? So you go read the article a little bit and talking about some X-15 test flight he was having, and then they show all these pictures just to keep it relevant.
Yeah, he said it was the Express.
Yeah, the UK Express. Yeah, it's nonsense. It's just something I'm cataloging and downloading on my phone every time I see it. And it's not every day, but it's often enough. And it's not front page, so they don't like glaringly show their hand. It's down a few articles. And it's always just to keep it relevant. Wonder why. Didn't see it for all these years, but now we're seeing it on almost a daily basis.
This is bullshit.
Right, because flat Earth is having an effect and people don't believe the moon landings. So they got to reify it.
Well, they've got to constantly keep the programming up. Just a quick reminder that we went to the moon honestly.
Exactly. More programming. Well said.
Why is it doing that?
Technology issues?
Yeah, I've been having issues all day, to be honest. It's just one of those things.
I was going to ask you, Nathan, how are you going to deal with the Hangouts once it's dropped out of YouTube? I guess August 1st. I saw that on YouTube. How are you going to go around that? Are you still going to just do it separately or something, or
They're replacing it
separately?
They're replacing it with something else, though, aren't they?
Yeah, and I was trying to play around with it, but I'm not sure what that is. I've been trying to play with it over the last few days. I'm not sure what they're going to use.
What's it? No. They're going to replace Hangouts on Air in September with, I can't remember what it's called. My wife told me, I can't remember. But something else, something slightly different.
Oh, okay. I've been playing around with a thing called Stage 10. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's something similar, but you can add streams and add feeds and all that stuff to it. And it's all browser based. So you don't have to actually have an app running in the background. It's kind of interesting.
I see. No, I mean, I'll play it by ear. Obviously, Discord's now up and running, which is great. I've got Skype as well for you guys on the panel, so I don't think it'll really cause an issue. If it went away altogether, which I don't think it will, I think they'll just replace it with something different from what I understand.
Maybe more fancy, more controls. Keep
Maybe
form bombing from happening.
Maybe, we shall see.
Yeah. Maybe they'll call it loitering.
Maybe. Now, I mean, I've done a few things to make sure that if it goes together, or if it went all together, I say past tense because it's now a little bit more clear about what they're doing. Then I'd already got sort of things in place to make sure the debate could continue.
Did you catch that parody chocolate sent out of Neil deGrasse Tyson?
I didn't.
Oh my gosh, it's short, but I was laughing so hard.
Is it on Master B?
Yeah, it is so funny. I did a still of it on one part that he said, the guy acting as Neil deGrasse. It's a crack up. I really am having a lot of fun with the fun side of this. The serious side is dead serious, of course, but you got to have fun with it too, or else you go crazy.
Right, 60 seconds and we'll start live.
Yeah, I might have a short day here. Now I know Paul's here to support, but I have 3 flat tires on my Farmobile. I got to take it in for repair.
Right? And we
Hey,
had
Flatzoid.
our opinions, we had our angles too. And then things changed. Nobody's holding
Hey, Flatzoid.
things from before that against us. Okay? So
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum, which you should definitely join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Spurs Chemo, Paul, Flatzoid, and 10th Man in the Google Plus Hangouts. How are you all doing?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good.
Good afternoon. How are you, Nathan?
Very
No
well.
one ever asks you how you are, you know.
I'm very well, thank you for asking. We're also joined by, just move my mic because the icons are so small. Bandsaw Bandit, Brenda, Dougie, Earth-shaped investigator. How are you all doing in Discord?
Good day, Nathan. How we going, mate?
Very well.
Right, well, before you kind of get into your housekeeping, I have a sign for gravity. Because, you know, I hear from flat earthers and ball earthers use the same argument about atmospheric pressure. Now, when I hear the word pressure, I have to assume or imagine a force behind that pressure. Now, I understand we live in some type of gassy substance, if we can call it that, but we apply the word pressure to the word gas pressure. Now, as I understand sorry?
I didn't say anything.
Okay, so as I understand, the pressure side is man-made. So gas pressure in a container is man-made. We do not see gas pressure, or we may do, that's what we're trying to find out, in nature, pressure. We see gas in nature, but do we see that pressure? So the point I'm trying to illustrate is that if flat earthers are calling gas pressure, that we live in a gas pressure, then what is that pressure? That would be a sign for gravity or some type of force, because you can't have pressure without a force, as we know. So the idea of a gradient, a pressure gradient, again, how are we measuring this pressure gradient? How do you know there is a gradient? The key for me, Nathan, if we're going with the sign is, if there is atmospheric pressure, then there is a force. Now, I submit that there is no atmospheric pressure.
Hold on.
Sorry?
That's a logical fallacy. So what you're saying
Okay.
is if we experience gas pressure in the heliocentric world without anything to press upon, then there must be a force holding it here. Well, no.
I'm not saying. I'm saying that if flat earthers are saying that you can't have gas pressure, if they use the word pressure, then I want to know where does that pressure come from? Where does that force come from?
Oh, well, I'll tell you. It's the force exerted on the walls of the container. That's why.
No.
Spurs.
Again. No, I have to stop you there.
Spurs, I haven't finished
pressure,
speaking.
A container is made by man where the pressure is pressed off those walls. Now, in nature, where do we see gases being pressure off any walls? So why are we using the words pressure in our arguments? This is the same argument as the ball earthers, where they have a force. Now, you're saying that you have a force off a wall, and in my understanding, in where we live in nature, there is no pressure, gas pressure. And even if it was a dome or wall, or it doesn't matter, we can presuppose, it doesn't mean to say that the particles, if there are particles as you described them, are even bouncing off anything. You see, this is, I've had a long think about
Spurs. If they're not bouncing off anything, what are they doing? They're just carrying on in the same
don't
direction.
Ask me what they're doing. Well, we can get into that. You can ask me. But
no, I know. I do know, Spurs. I know the answer.
Well, go on then. What's the answer?
Well, they're trying to expand in all directions. Gas has no bonds. It's moving.
So where's the pressure?
Spurs, I need more than 4 words, mate.
Go on.
You don't need to give me permission. You just need to shut up when I'm talking. So, gas is trying to expand in all directions. The quantification description of pressure is the force exerted on the walls of a container, and you can measure it with PSI. The I bit being the square inch of the container. So without the container, there's no I in PSI.
You done? You finished?
Well, yeah, that's the end of the argument. You're saying, well, where do we get this force from? Where do we get this? Where do we get this?
So you're saying to me that we live in a pressure of 14.7, whatever number you want to describe to it. But if you're going to say to me that you feel pressure, then you may as well say you feel gravity. You're feeling a force that cannot be measured.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, it can. In PSI. In PSI. Or however else you want to measure it. Pascals.
How has man done that?
Why is it that when I talk, Spurs carries on talking? What's going on, Spurs? Yeah, should I repeat what I just said with you talking all over it? It can be measured. You are wrong. There are many different measurements. PSI, Pascals being just a couple. Yes, you can measure it.
Okay, well demonstrate to me now then how you're measuring the pressure.
Are you having a laugh? You're denying that.
Pressure,
sorry, Spurs. What you're asking me to do, is demonstrate that pressure is a measurement. Sorry, does anybody deny this? Other than you right now?
I deny the pressure. I'm denying that you are measuring.
Okay, no worries. Go in peace. Deny pressure. That makes you foolish.
Well, hold on a second. You should be able to demonstrate to me this pressure.
We filled up a tire, Spurs.
Yeah, that's man-made, a man-made container. No, I'm talking about in nature.
So what?
Show me the pressure.
Can I?
It's a necessary antecedent. Without the container, there is no pressure. It's as simple as that, Spurs.
Let me think about this for a minute because it's going to get heated. Think about what you're saying. If you're telling me in nature, outside, there is a pressure, I want to know how you're measuring that. Not man telling me about a container, a box, where they insert the air themselves and then they measure that pressure inside the container.
Spurs,
doesn't make
you
any
just
sense,
be quiet for a minute. What is PSI, Spurs, to you? What's PSI?
It means nothing in the real world.
Right,
in the real world, it means nothing.
Okay, in your Narnia world, what is PSI?
No, in your Narnia world, what is PSI?
See, you won't even have a dialogue. So what's
I don't have a PSI in my real in nature where I live.
The whole
it's
world?
A manner to quantify pressure in all directions.
That's in my nature, 10th man. There is no. I don't feel any. Do you feel spin? Do you feel pressure? Do you feel
Yes.
curve? None of those
Yeah,
things
I
I
do feel
feel.
pressure.
Yes,
I
I
don't
can
feel any
yes.
pressure in nature.
Yes,
Now,
it won't shut up. Yes, you can detect it in your ears when you go up and down a hill. There you go.
no, that's not. That's nothing to do with pressure. That's to do with
It's
blood
everything
pressure.
to do with pressure.
That's to do with
You're
health.
just being a pressure denier. I don't understand it, Spurs. This is
Because
silly.
I'm explaining it to you now. I'm saying to you that when you go up a hill or up a mountain, depending on your blood pressure, depending on your health conditions, pilots who train not to have their ears popped do not have their ears popped because they are in good health. Now, some blobber who sits online all day and then goes on a plane and says, oh, my ears are popping because he's in bad condition, thinks it's because his altitude or pressure is incorrect. Now, I'm saying to you that it's temperature. The only thing that we feel in nature is temperature. We feel when it's warm, we're at a low level, and we feel cold when we go up.
Oh, that's
And that's
fascinating.
That's ridiculous.
Just wrong. You're just wrong.
Yeah, well, I won't get into, well,
It's
well, look, I'll
ridiculous.
tell
Do you
what,
know
I'll
how
tell you what.
how
I'll tell
pilots
you what
pop
then,
their
Arden.
ears
I'll
by
I'll tell you
putting
what then, Arden.
pressure
If
in
that's
them
ridiculous- okay, fine.
themselves?
I'm not going to argue it. If you're going to
Actual
give
pressure,
me
you know,
your,
caused with the
Oh,
lungs in the
give me
mouth
your-
and everything.
Spurs,
If you're-
Spurs, you're not letting anybody else speak while you just deny pressure. It's laughable.
He's just
Yeah,
rambling
I'll
on.
accept it for the moment. I'll accept it
You're
for the moment. But
just-
when we think
Spurs.
about this,
Oh my!
you guys are telling people there is a pressure. They feel something that can be something that can be measured that we don't feel. So let's measure it then.
Jesus
measure it.
Christ.
Spurs, have you gone
You let me
swimming
finish.
before?
I can't even finish a sentence here.
Oh my God!
14.7 was created from 33 feet under sea level. Under the actual water is 14.7 psi. Now,
What?
when you have your device and you
No, it's
take
not.
from 14.7 back to sea level, it goes back to 0. Now, you explain to me how you're measuring the pressure in the atmosphere. Go.
Who are you parroting right now, Spurs? You seem you have this extra adrenaline.
Don't question
rush.
his
Who are you
motives.
parroting right now?
Yeah, I'm stepping away
Hold
from
on,
this-
stop. I'm not interested in his motives. I'm just interested in his argument and his question. His question revolves around us proving that pressure's real. It's ludicrous.
Of course it is.
Yeah,
Because
well, again, I'm not trying to go against anybody, but I'm about the
how
truth.
they get
Okay, and
just
if I'm hearing the
because-
word pressure,
Oh my
where's
God.
that force coming from? What's the cause of this pressure? And where can we demonstrate this pressure in nature?
Okay, that's
We can
our
How do they get?
Spurs.
Spurs, how
That's
do they-
our argument. That's our argument. So when the fundies say, "Well, I can prove that the sky is a vacuum. Just go outside," well, we experience gas pressure. That's what
No,
we
we don't.
experience. So
No, we
you can
Don't.
Spurs.
This is
Spurs.
ridiculous, man.
You can deny it all you
You're
like.
psychotic.
Oh, I'm getting rumpused left and right. You can deny it all you like, but we know how gas behaves. It expands in all directions, unless it's got something to strike. Simple. It's logical. It makes perfect sense. Like a ball that you throw. If you throw it, it's just going to carry on, but for the fact that it's resisted by the air itself, it's going to carry on until it hits something, or it's going to lose its energy and drop. Well, in the case of a gas, it just carries on in all directions, unless it hits something. Now, when it hits something, you can quantify that hitting and how much or how many particles are hitting by pressure, by that mathematical quantification, that description of what's happening when a gas hits the walls of a container. Our argument being that based on Boyle's law and the second law of thermodynamics, you can't have gas pressure without a container. There must be something to press upon. Otherwise, in the case of the fundamentalist argument that the sky is a vacuum, you have nothing but a void for the gas, which wants to expand in all directions, to expand into. So that's our argument,
Nathan,
Spurs. Doesn't matter if you
Nathan.
deny pressure.
Nathan, you just
Again.
described how you can have gas pressure without a container.
Oh, really, Brenda?
You just did it.
Well then, parrot it back.
Yeah, you said that gas expands. The gas molecules are moving around in the atmosphere, right?
No, they're expanding in all directions until they hit
Yes.
something.
Until they hit something.
Yeah.
And when they hit something, they exert a force.
Okay, and what do they hit when they get to the vacuum of the sky, Brenda? What are they striking to come back down and
No.
retain pressure?
I'm not talking about the vacuum of the sky. I'm
I
talking
am.
about they hit something.
Well, I
something
am. I
like
am.
a
That's
tree.
exactly what this
Like-
debate's about. Space and the sky vacuum that
Like-
you fundies who believe you live on a sphere assert that there is. So I'm asking, given your description of what creates gas pressure, the striking of a wall, how does it strike a vacuum? It would disperse into
How
it,
they
Brenda.
strike I was talking about how you can have gas pressure without a container. They're wandering around expanding, and they hit a tree, and they exert a force on that tree. That's how you
I
can
know.
have gas
Yeah,
pressure
Brenda, I
without
understand.
a container.
Yeah, Brenda. Now I'm asking, when they get to the top of the sky, yeah, it's asserted by your side of the argument that it dissipates to zero. There's no longer any gas. Brenda,
so
haven't
I
finished.
take it
haven't,
you're
haven't quite
admitting I'm
finished.
correct,
Haven't quite
then.
finished being global mute button, right? So I'm asking at the top, not by a tree at ground level, at the top, where your fundamentalist belief in a sky vacuum starts, what do they strike there? Because as my understanding is that if you have got a vacuum, the gas is going to expand into it, not strike something and come back to create pressure.
Well, unless otherwise affected by a force.
Well, there is no force. Gravity is
Yeah,
not
there
a
is.
force,
It's
and
gravity.
even if it
Yeah.
was,
Yes, it
it
is.
does not overcome entropy.
Entropy has nothing to do with this. You don't understand.
This is entropy. This is what we're describing. The energy expanding in all directions. That is entropy. That's entropy increase.
What is the second law of thermodynamics?
What we're
Nathan? You don't know
describing
what it
is entropy increase. We're describing...
What is it?
We are describing a gas which is high energy dissipating to low energy. That is entropy. That is what we are describing.
That's not what entropy is.
I don't give a
You don't
shit.
understand
I'm
it.
asking you what's it striking on at the top by your fundy belief in a sky vacuum, and you're yet to answer. So don't rattle off a load of questions about the second law of thermodynamics to me. I understand implicitly that gas expands in all directions until it strikes the walls of a container. The striking of the wall of the container, I'm still talking. The striking of the wall of the container per inch of that container is what is quantified as pressure, gas pressure. The pressure it exerts on the walls of the container per square inch thereof. Now I'm asking you, at the top of your... I'm still talking. At the top of your fundamentalist belief in a sky vacuum, what is the gas striking? Because if it can't strike anything, and the only thing in its way is an ever-expanding infinite vacuum, it would carry on dispersing into it.
Yes, it would.
Excellent. So, sky is not a vacuum because we would not have gas pressure. There's nothing for it to strike. There would be no pressure. Without the container, there is no pressure. And if it's asserted, as it is, that the sky is a vacuum, as Brenda's just conceded, the gas would expand into the vacuum, ultimately debunking any notion whatsoever that the sky is a vacuum. It isn't. Entropy would take a hold, and the gas would fill the space.
It would expand into space.
Yes, we know. That's why the sky is not a vacuum. We understand this, Brenda. You've been very good recently. You're asserting all of the things we would like a fundy like you to assert. Yes, if the sky was a vacuum, the gas would fill the space. We know.
Yes.
Excellent. Right, let's move on. Let's do a bit of housekeeping. Who on the panel? Owen's got his mic open, would like to start.
Any signs of Earth curvature?
No. Yesterday we had a guy who asserted that the second law of thermodynamics violation known as the sky vacuum was where they'd got some pictures of Earth curve from, but we smashed that into the middle of next week. I don't know if there's anything new. Anybody in
That's highly
Discord?
unlikely.
Yeah, I agree. Highly unlikely. Next. Maybe Arwin. How was your show, Arwin? Yeah, it was okay. Anybody else? Hopefully somebody else on the panel is going to ask a question.
Any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Anybody? Anybody at all? Axial rotation?
Well, I wanted to complete.
Axial rotation. Anybody at all? Yeah, we're doing housekeeping. Any signs of axial rotation is 10th man's question. No. Moving on.
Any scientific evidence of the R value?
No, still just a
Nope.
presupposition. I'll ask one. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No, it's a light in the sky, and there's no way to measure it yet.
Right, couple more. Flatzoids, do you want to ask one? Maybe about Earth's core.
Ooh. 3, 2, 1. Any evidence of self-perpetuating molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Come on. Come on, there's got to be someone with something.
No, I don't think so.
I think Flatzoid's having issues with his mic or something. He just came on and said he couldn't do much.
Oh, okay.
I'll ask the G question.
I think we've got one more left.
I think 2.
Two? Go ahead.
Yeah.
You go ahead. Take the fun.
Go ahead, Paul.
Any evidence of gas pressure without a container? I know we already talked about it, but I know that we didn't really ask the question.
No?
Sure. I just showed how Nathan himself admitted that gas pressure can exist without a container.
No, I did not.
Hold it.
Got a
Go ahead,
quote?
Brenda.
Well, there's evidence of gas pressure, but the container's the tricky one, isn't it?
No, there's nowhere in the formula for gas pressure does it mention a container at all.
But that's a formula.
Yeah.
I don't live in a formula.
Oh, that's a
I
good
didn't
one.
say
That's
you
good. I don't
did.
live in a formula either.
I know. But I said there's evidence of gas pressure, but there's no evidence of a container.
Said there's no
I haven't
evidence.
seen any.
No evidence in the formula. What about Boyle's law then, Brenda? What's the V?
What?
What's the V in Boyle's law?
The formula for gas pressure is P equals F over A. Pressure is the
what's the
force
A?
divided by the area.
Area of what?
The surface
Of what?
of anything.
Of the container?
No.
Oh, so area doesn't refer to a surface of a container for the gas to bounce upon.
Right. It doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't. So what does area mean then, Brenda? Area of what?
Anything.
A tree? Is a tree giving you an
Anything.
increased gas pressure? Is it the tree? The area of the tree?
Yeah. Yes,
No.
the area on the tree trunk. Yes, it experiences pressure.
Oh, in that case, my ankles experiences pressure.
Yes. 14 pounds per square inch.
Oh, how do you measure that? How'd you get that measurement?
You get it with a suitable instrument. I don't know.
So in
Are
Boyle's
there
law,
any trees where there's only gradient gas? Is there any trees up there where you have a gradient pressure?
I still
There's
haven't
no
got an
such thing
answer to
as
my
a
question.
gradient pressure. You're just
what's the
combining
V?
words that you heard into
Yeah,
sentences.
I want to know what the answer is. What's V? In Boyle's law, what's the V referring to?
I'm not talking about Boyle's law.
I am.
I'm just
I'm
talking
asking
about
you.
the formula
I'm asking
for
you.
pressure.
I'm asking you. We're talking about gas and Boyle's law, and I want to know what the V stands for. You said it's not in the maths. We've already had one example where we've got an area, a square inch value to measure. So what's V in Boyle's law?
It's the volume
Volume of what?
of the air.
Of the air? Or of the container?
Oh, it doesn't say anything about container. It just says volume.
Volume of what?
Just the volume.
Yeah, the volume of a gas that can expand in all directions until it strikes the area, the volume of the container.
Or man-made, Nathan.
Boyle's law.
All these
Boyle's
containers
law
that
has.
you're describing, whether it be a pressure
Sorry,
tire,
sorry.
a
What's your
gas
problem, Spurs?
can.
What's the problem with it being man-made? What's the problem? What are
Because
you
we
talking
don't
about?
see in nature, we don't see in nature gas pressurized. Where
Yeah,
do
we
see
do.
it?
We breathe it.
Yes.
Yeah. What's the pressure then of the gas that we breathe?
What's the quantification mathematically? A number that we arbitrarily assign? Who cares?
No. How can we know there is a pressure unless we feel that pressure?
Sorry, Spurs. Again, back to your pressure denying. Who cares? Nobody's denying except you that we have gas pressure. We do. We have gas.
Wait, you're sounding like those who say there's gravity, but there's a force, but we can't feel it. So you're saying there's a pressure, we can't feel it, we can't measure
We
it,
can.
but there's one there.
Yeah, we
Yes, you
can.
can.
We can feel
Are
it. We
you
can
numb?
measure it.
Are you
What are you
like
talking about?
paralyzed or something? This is
Well,
ridiculous.
if we can, what do we say to the ball earthers who say what you're saying now? Prove it. Demonstrate that you can prove there is a pressure. Okay, Arwin, demonstrate to me there's gas pressure in nature. Not in a tire, not in a vacuum, not in a box, in nature. Go outside and show me the pressure, Arwin.
Okay, well,
Okay.
why don't you check out, for example, the roots of a tree? What's
Yeah,
going on in
what?
there? There's sap pressure in that.
I'm talking about atmospheric pressure, Arwin.
Yeah, that's
All
how
of you
the
flat
diet-
earthers sound like ball earthers arguing for a force, a magical force that is being
Atmospheric
applied
pressure.
with no cause, and we can't
Yeah,
calculate.
that's rather
feel
easy
it.
to do, Spurs.
No, what
That's
the
easy to do.
phenomena of gas
Look,
pressure
really,
is in
Arwin,
nature,
you're
but
ball
you
earthers.
can't
This is what-
prove
Arwin,
it in nature.
Arwin,
You have to
ball
actually
earthers, Arwin.
isolate it in a
He won't let you talk,
to be able
Arwin.
to prove it. You
He'll
have
just
to
rumpus you.
isolate all the variables.
Arwin, come on, Arwin. The ball earthers have an excuse. They have gravity that
No,
causes this force.
gas
of
pressure is in nature, but you need man-made devices in order
No,
to
Arwin,
isolate
gas
the
is in nature.
independent variables.
No.
Arwin.
Stop. No, we're not isolating independent variables. We're not talking about science. We're talking about natural laws. Yeah, there's no isolating. It doesn't matter that your quantification is mathematical. We're talking about a description of something that occurs. Now, unless you're here to deny that we have gas pressure, this is a pointless argument.
How can I deny something or accept something that I've never witnessed, seen, felt, measured? What do you mean
No
deny?
worries.
What do you mean I'm denying exactly?
No worries. You can deny it all you like.
Breathing,
You're saying we
breathing.
can't
What
prove
am
gas
I
pressure
denying?
to
So
you.
hold on. So you're
You're
saying
completely desensitized.
Gosh,
Yeah,
one at a
whatever.
time. So you're
Whatever.
saying, Nathan,
No,
Pressure
not
is a
interested.
basic thing.
Hold on,
Everyone
so
can
are-
feel.
are
If you
we-
have muscles,
Stop
you
there.
can feel
Stop there.
pressure.
I mean, again, we're
I
trying to
guess
find
that you
truth
don't
here. What
have
are you
the
guys-
senses
what's
to
going on here?
measure
Spurs,
pressure,
Spurs.
to experience pressure.
Arwin, hold on a
means you're
second.
completely
Hold on.
numb.
Arwin, please, can you hold on? Spurs, I didn't hear a word of what Arwin just said. Just talking all over everybody when they respond to you.
I'm trying to respond to you, Nathan, and then Arwen's jumping in.
Yeah, and
You're
I've
saying,
already given you...
you're saying I'm
yeah,
a
because
pressure denier, and I'm saying what? The fact that I don't feel,
I've heard it.
measure,
Yeah, we've heard it 16 times, Spurs.
so what am I denying?
Yeah, so you're going to carry on babbling. That's my hint to say, I've heard it. Yeah? And when you're saying you're trying to talk to me, you continue talking indefinitely. So I can't get a word in edgeways, Spurs. So you don't want to talk to me, you want to talk at me.
No, I'm saying you're just going to assert pressure.
there he goes
and
again.
then accept it.
Yeah, I'm trying to explain that Arwin's trying to give you a response. I've given up. I've given up on account of the fact that you're simply denying that we have gas pressure. Okay? Well, okay, Spurs, fine. That is fundamentally a part of our existence. But if you want to deny it and say that I can't show you gas pressure, then fine. No worries, just deny it. I don't know of a single globehead that denies...
I do deny
I haven't... There he goes again. I haven't
really
finished.
nice.
I haven't finished, Spurs. You could tell by the fact I was still fucking talking. Yeah? I don't know...
get angry
And there it
over
goes
gas
again. I
pressure. You
still...
believe there's a
Spurs, I'm going
pressure,
to
I
eject
don't.
you. Right? You're being intolerable. I'm in the middle of a sentence. I don't know any globeheads that deny that we have air pressure, atmospheric pressure, gas that creates pressure. Nobody denies this except you right now. So I'm done and don't want to continue the conversation, but I do want to actually hear Arwin speaking to you.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Because, yeah, Arwen, there is a bit of a shock. I understand. We've been
Oh
told.
my God. That preamble was so that Arwen could actually be heard.
Right. Okay, so Spurskimo, if you're actually claiming that you do not have the senses to feel pressure, including gas pressure, it's just pressure. Doesn't really matter whether it be gas or an object or liquid pressure. There's only one sense to sense pressure, and that's material pressure, including gas pressure. If you don't have the senses to sense that, that means that you literally can't feel your muscles tighten. You can't experience pressure. That means you're completely desensitized. I wonder how you're still alive. That's the case. 'Cause
Okay, Owen, let's look
even
at
a
it.
baby
Let's
can
look at, all right,
experience
Owen, let's not
pressure.
argue. Let's talk.
You know,
about
when a baby gets born, you better
Owen.
damn well know that it experienced pressure.
All right. I mean, I don't mind doing this on Jose's or Rantis, but I would like a flat earther to talk to you about this understanding about pressure. So at sea level, Arwen, it's 14.7 psi. We take an object, we weigh it at 14. We weigh it, a 1 kilogram object at sea level, right? It weighs 1 kilogram. Now, you would have us believe that if you were to go to Salton Sea, where it's 200 feet below sea level, that object should weigh more because of the pressure, higher pressure at a lower level. Right, Arwen?
Well, that depends on what the medium is
now
going
it
to be out there.
depends.
Look, hold on. I'm going to respond to this in
Okay.
detail. Look, if you say you're going to go down to the bottom of the ocean somewhere.
No, I didn't
really
say that,
deep.
Arwen.
Hold on, I'm
Arwen.
not done yet.
For the
Stop
love of
changing my
God,
words and I said
Spurs!
the
Shut
Spurs!
up, I'm not
Spurs!
done yet.
Spurs, he hasn't finished.
But we're not talking about water. We're talking about land. Just the land.
You were basically asking a question. I'm trying to explain it. Will you please shut up while I do? Okay, right. So you're going to measure the pressure of something at the bottom of the ocean. So now it all depends. Are you going to measure the pressure within the medium of the ocean itself when the entire ocean is going to be pressing? Or are you going to take a bubble of air within that water in which you are going to measure the weight, and that bubble is also going to be compressed because the ocean is pressing on that air? Or are you somehow going to have a giant tube connecting to the open air that's very strong, can maintain that pressure from the outside, and then allow the direct air tunnel? Now there's an interesting question. Is the pressure still going to be very high, and the weight, if there's a direct air connection, basically relieving the oceanic pressure at that point? I don't know. You would have to test it.
Right, so the reason why I interrupted you, because you've just gone on some mad tangent. I'm trying to be very specific, Arwen, specific. At 14.7 psi at sea level, you weigh an object at 1 kilogram. You stay on the land, but you go down 200 feet on sea level, on the land, not underwater, on the land. You go lower down in elevation. The pressure should increase, should it not, Arwen?
Well, the gas pressure is going to increase because there's more gas weighing on it.
Water. I'm talking about a 1 kilogram object on a scale. You take the scale down to the lower elevation where there is more pressure. That 1 kilogram should weigh more.
No.
But it doesn't,
No.
does it?
No, weight is relative.
So you're saying that the pressure is pushing
determined
on
by
me.
gravity.
Hold on a minute. So the weight,
the mass is constant,
So hold
but
on. Again,
weight
this
is a
how
deduced
nonsense
process.
We're
we're
back
hearing.
to both of you talking over each other. Shout out to Earth is Seriously Flat. Globe lovers get destroyed on this amazing channel. Thank you very much for the super chat. Please, Spurs and Arwen, can you just go one at a time?
Right, Arwen, you're saying that I'm standing on this surface at sea level and I feel a pressure of 14.7. If I go lower than sea level, the pressure should increase. Yes or no, Arwen?
Yes.
Yes. So obviously, if I take a scale with an object that's at 14.7, I go lower, the pressure should be more. That means more weight, should be heavier. And
No.
No? So when I go up, Arwen, I'm not lighter. If I go up into a dense atmosphere, I'm not lighter. It's not lighter.
No, you shouldn't be. You should actually
Shouldn't be
heavier.
lighter. You should
be experiencing, because your relative density is further away from its equilibrium point in relation
Okay,
to
let's
the
take a
medium.
balloon with air in it, Arwen. If the balloon goes up, what happens to the balloon?
Oh, what? Hold
It'll
on.
meet its equilibrium point within its relative density.
Spurs.
Oh, so nothing is expanding and contracting then?
Spurs. What?
That'll
you
happen
keep-
simultaneously.
Spurs, you keep asking him questions. What's your claim? What are you claiming?
Well, we're trying to prove this pressure. We're trying to prove that there's a measurable, we can feed it. There's actually something there that you guys are saying there's a pressure, but we can't measure it.
Well,
Again,
you
like
measure
gravity.
No,
You
you're
measure the
claiming you
pressure,
can't measure it and that you
measure
can't
it.
sense it
Brenda,
because
Sound
you're
like
going
Paul
nuts.
Evans.
Brenda and Arwin,
Brenda's
hold
rubbing
on.
their hands here.
Brenda and
All
Arwin, I
they're
just
rubbing their
want to talk
hands
to
here saying,
Spurs
"Look,
for a
you see, They
minute.
sound the same as us now. They have the
All of
measure,
you.
course they can't
Spurs,
measure."
I'm trying to get you to stop talking, so that means that just you and I are talking over each other until you stop talking. So, Spurs, why are you trying to prove that there is pressure for a gas? Why?
Because
What's the
flat
purpose?
earthers use the gradient as an argument when there is no pressure gradient, there is only a temperature gradient, and all this density and buoyancy argument to do with pressure is kind of messing the argument up.
Okay,
right?
let me just...
So
okay,
we
Spurs,
don't-
Spurs! Just need a concise claim and then you stop talking. So, your claim is there is no pressure gradient, your claim, and it's only temperature differentials. Now, can you provide some support for your claim, please?
That's what we feel. That's Nate. Ask anybody. If you,
my
Spurs,
if you walk to the top
stop,
of a mountain, you feel
stop,
cold.
stop, Spurs. Don't make a reassertion of your declaration. We understand what your claim is. Don't appeal to consensus and say ask anybody. Just provide support for your claim, please.
You want me to provide support for when you go up a mountain if you feel cold or whether you feel hot? How can
No.
I support what you feel when you climb the mountain?
Spurs.
You will know if you were cold, if you were warm.
Spurs. No. Your claim is there is no gas pressure gradient, only temperature differentials. So can you support that claim, please?
With what?
With whatever you want to support your claim.
What are you talking about?
It's a claim.
Been told and
I'll answer
lied.
you,
We've been
Spurs.
told there is a pressure in our atmosphere.
Spurs, I don't need you to reassert the same claim 15 more times. Now listen up. What I need you to now do is provide support for your claim. Not reassert it 5 more times, please.
I don't get the question then.
Please provide support for your claim that we do not experience pressure differentials, only temperature differentials. Your claim, please support it.
Again, how I understand this question. If we've been told a lie, like the Earth is
Don't
spinning,
need a question.
Yeah.
I need support for your claim. Don't ask me to support your claim. Just
I
provide.
don't get this question again. It's to me, it's the same as the spinning ball. We don't
Don't
feel
need
spin.
an equivalence.
Gravity.
Spurs. I'm gonna end this conversation right now. Right. I don't want endless, incessant babble and comparison. I just want support for your claim that we don't experience temperature differentials. I'm not even going to get to the end of my sentence before Spurs interrupts me with yet another repetition of the same bloody claim. Shout out to Earth is seriously flat. Resistance is futile today. You're having a globe-abortion. Indeed.
There's no globers involved in this.
You're a glober.
I'm not debating with Spurs. You are.
Good morning, guys. How's
Hey,
everybody?
chocolate.
Yo, Choco.
Anybody can debate anybody. Just because we're both on the same side of this particular argument doesn't mean we agree. I know we've got gas pressure. Spurs seems to think we only have temperature differentials. So clearly we don't agree, and that's a subject for debate, Brenda. Just because it's flat on flat doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's easy to measure gas pressure.
I agree.
So, ball earthers and flat earthers agreement. How are you guys measuring the pressure, guys? Can you tell me how you're measuring the pressure in nature?
With a barometer.
With a barometer, okay. Nathan, you agree with the ball earther? That's how you measure pressure?
Spurs, I've already said I'm done. Just have it out with Brenda if you want.
Arwin, do you agree with Brenda that you measure pressure with a barometer?
I agree that I think you're trying to pull some kind of weird social engineering ploy to bring flat earthers and ballers in agreement with one another. And I think it's very cheap
Well, I'm trying to wake up
and
the
dumb.
community, Arwen. I'm trying to wake everybody up. We've been lied to about pressure. About pressure. Now, you know that pressure requires a force. Now, ball earthers have gravity as their cause of this pressure. Now, what do flat earthers have as their cause of this pressure?
Relative density disequilibrium.
Relative density is the cause of
disequilibrium. Don't misquote me.
Well, can you demonstrate this, Arwen?
Oh, yeah.
Disequilibrium is not a force. Pressure requires a force.
No, it causes a force.
Oh, here we go. But now this is what I'm saying.
It is the force.
This is amazing. So you flat earthers and ball earthers will argue about something that cannot.
I only speak for myself. It's up to the others to confirm or deny
this
it.
This is beautiful, isn't it? This is just what they wanted, right?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, you know, whatever they want.
You're arguing against me. Show me how you're measuring the pressure. Just go outside, take a device, and say, yeah, this is what the pressure is today.
Spurs.
Get a point.
So we're getting somewhere. Let's think about it. We feel temperature. You know when it's cold, you know when it's hot. The only pressure on your body is underwater. When you
no, that's bullshit. What do you think wind is? You
wind,
idiot.
where does wind come from? Arwen,
pressure, from gas pressure. Doesn't matter actually where it comes from. It's just what it is. It's pressure. You can feel pressure. Ever felt a shockwave?
I've got to do it again. I've got to do it again because I can't understand what's being said. Just let Arwen get to the end. Hopefully Arwen will actually break when he's finished his statement.
Pressure. Gas pressure. You feel gas pressure all the time. Have you ever driven really fast with a car with an open roof? Yeah, you feel that freaking pressure. Okay? Doesn't matter what causes it. There is pressure. That's how you notice that air is actually a thing and not just a void. You feel
there's
it
a
pressing.
constant atmospheric pressure that you never feel, Arwen. 14 pounds per square inch is pressing on you at all times. You know, fortunately for you, the inside of your skin presses back with an equal amount, and so you don't get collapsed up into a little ball.
We're adapted to the pressure. That's right. But we do experience the actual gas pressing.
Brenda,
you don't experience it.
Hold on, Brenda. Sorry to interrupt you. Just Arwen and Brenda, please, Spurs. She's addressed him. Just let him have it out.
Our conversation, fine. You discuss something that doesn't exist. Go for it.
Hey, we know you deny
pressure.
It
does exist. We can measure it.
We can experience it and we can measure it. So, at a point, please.
Inside of your body.
Arwen, where's the curvature? Where's the measurement? Where's the pressure? Where's
your antipsychotic medication?
Where's the measurement? Where's his 14.7, Arwen? Where is it going?
Hello.
Yeah.
I've
been listening.
Where is it?
I kind of want to see where this is going with Spurs. I'll be honest with you.
So do I. I want to see his crazy belief in no pressure.
No, I actually think he might have a point. If we take a step back and we listen to him explain it from start to finish, without interrupting him, I think he might have something of interest here. I'm definitely interested in this.
But I've already asked him.
There's nothing of interest in here.
I've asked him to support his claim. Hey, the one. I've asked him to support his claim, and he's like, I don't understand what your question is. You're asking me to support what I've said. Shout out to the flatearthchannel.com. In the Bible, it says we have a firmament that to divide the water from the waters. So we are underwater technically. Don't know if I agree, but shout out to flatearthchannel.com. Thank you very much for the super chat.
That's interesting, although it doesn't say divide the water from the water and put gas in between. So we don't know exactly what it actually references, but it is fascinating.
Well, again, I know it's a bit of a shock, but all I'm saying is the ball earthers' argument is that there is pressure. We know we're not on a ball. We know there is no space. So we know there is no gravity and we know there is no pressure. Now, the point is with the flat earthers, they're taking this argument of a gradient and pressure from where? Where did they get this from? Where have they measured you can only measure pressure in a tire, in a can, something that is the word pressure is man-made. We created gas pressure.
I am not willing to feed into this psychosis.
You don't have to, Arwin.
Can I please kick him?
You don't have to, because again, people ask you, Arwin, demonstrate and prove that you can show there's a pressure. You can have your
I gave you examples and you ignored
Okay. Hold on, Arwin. Hold on. Arwin, at this point, you've got to the point I got to. You've offered him your explanations. He doesn't accept them. Brenda's trying to get into the conversation. I'd rather Brenda spoke to Spurs, to be perfectly honest. At the moment, she seems like the most calm and rational out of all of us.
Yeah, I can't believe he just said kick him, though, Arwin. I can't believe he said that, because he just brought up a very relevant point. All the pressure that you're talking about, every kind of container that you've spoken about, whether it be tyre pressure, deodorants, scuba diver tank, all that stuff, all the pressurized stuff you're talking about, which needs a container, is man-frigging-made. And what Spurs is saying is the atmosphere isn't man-made. So how can it have the same applications to it? Literally, how can it have the same applications applied to that? Because you're talking about two different things, natural and man-made.
Oh, is it about that? Well, I don't.
I
don't ascribe to that part about the man-made. That's John's thing. I can entertain it, but I don't fully agree with that.
Well, you apply it when it comes to gravity.
Go into
wait a minute. You apply it when it comes to gravity, and it's the first thing you come to. What took it out of disequilibrium? Well, you picked it up. Right? It was picked up off the ground. It took it out of equilibrium. Well, what caused it? Man-made caused it. Man-made, and natural. That's all we ever hear with gravity. When it comes to a container, and we're talking about containers having pressure, it's all man-made containers we're talking about.
Sorry,
and what Spurs is discussing is do those laws apply to the gravity, to the pressure system in a global system? Does it apply? Because it's not man-made. It is a natural phenomenon.
Yeah, you've missed out on the actual point of this argument. So the argument in terms of gas pressure is to address the fundamentalist globehead claim that there's nothing for the gas to press upon. It's just a vacuum that it can expand into. Now, regardless of whether or not you believe in gas pressure, as ludicrous as that is, we know what gas does. It expands in all directions until it hits something. Now, you can describe that as whatever you like. I don't care what you label it. If you want to call gas pressure man-made, then fine. It's just simple physics. The gas expands in all directions. If it strikes something, you can quantify with a measurement how much the gas strikes that area per square inch, and that gives you a value arbitrarily constructed by man. It does not change what gas does. Expands in all directions until it hits something. If it doesn't hit something, it just carries on. And that's why we use this argument, to address the fact that they say there's nothing for it to hit up in the sky, but in fact an endless void for it to expand into. And we know gas expands. Now you want to say that...
How do you know that applies up there?
Nathan, how do you know it's like this? Again, you're talking about a container, what man pressurizes gas. In nature, we don't know what's going on. We don't know what the roof is like, if it absorbs the gases. We don't know what happens in this manner. You're saying that there's a roof, it bounces off the roof and goes back down. Well,
no, I didn't say that. I said that what is necessary and what is quantified for gas pressure in terms of a measurement is a container for it to bounce off of or press upon. That's where you get the quantification from. So it's a simple antecedent-consequent relationship. If you can't bounce off something, you've got no square inch to value to measure how much it's bouncing off of it. So in terms of what a gas does, expand in all directions, what's it going to do if the sky is a vacuum? Well, it would expand into it, debunking the assertion that the sky is a vacuum. Now, Spurs, I don't assert we have a dome. I don't assert that I know what the roof is, or that we have a roof, or anything in that regard. It would be foolish because I don't know. I don't understand, but what I do understand by simple demonstration is that in order to have pressure, you need something to press upon. That's it.
Nathan, answer me this, yeah? Tell me 5 containers with pressure. that you can speak of? Because you're telling me that the gas needs a container to be pressurized, right? So list me 5 containers that hold gas pressure, please.
5. You got elephant. You got elephant lungs. You got human lungs, monkey lungs, mice lungs. That's 4. What else? Bird lungs. Will that do? Were they man-made?
No.
Oh right, not a problem then. Not man-made.
But it's
were they containers for gas?
No, that's not
semantics.
That's
semantic.
No, that's not semantical.
Was it a container
you know where the
just getting talked over? Just getting talked over by Ranty. Ranty,
yeah,
were they?
Because ultimately,
why am I getting talked over, Ranty? I'm trying to be calm, and you're just rumpusing me.
Anything else?
Well, you're rumpusing the hell out of me while I'm trying to give my answer that you've just asked.
You've just said lungs because you just go into a position where you know it's sort of somewhat, natural and somewhat not. Yeah.
Sorry.
Because you wouldn't say something like you wouldn't say something.
You won't answer my question. You're just getting very angry.
You wouldn't say something like a deodorant can. You wouldn't say that.
No, because Spurs.
Because then I would say that was man-made.
Arwen, he's talking to me. Arwen, he's talking to me. Arwen, he's talking to me. Arwen, he was asking me. But it's just like unlistenable to the audience when 3 people talk to each other. So my question to you, Auntie, was: are they natural? Are they containers? Do they have gas inside them?
Explain how they're natural. Who built them?
Nobody. They're natural. My lungs weren't built by anybody. They're natural.
Came from who?
Well, they're
came
just
from
natural.
Man. Came from your parents. So it came from
what about elephant lungs? Were they made by man?
They came from their parents.
Yeah, not man then. Not man-made.
Well,
natural.
Living. Came from living.
Yeah, natural.
Came from living. The atmosphere isn't living, Nathan.
So what?
So I'm asking you to tell me of a container that holds gas pressure.
Yeah, I did. Lungs. And you didn't like it for some reason.
Well, I didn't like it because you've obfuscated the point.
I haven't obfuscated any point.
That you want to, because this is the point, Nathan. You're never going to get anywhere if you act like this. You're acting like a child.
Let me get it straight. I get asked to describe 5 containers. I instantaneously give you 5 containers. I'm told that they're not satisfactory because they are natural.
What about tire pressure? How many times have you said tire pressure, Nathan?
Yeah.
On this debate.
How about again?
I'm not going to get to answer because Arwen's decided that Arwen's name is Nathan Ranty, so I'm not going to get to answer you. It's just going to be rumpusing that's unlistenable because of Arwen. Yeah, unfortunately, Ranty, earlier I was told that wasn't acceptable because it wasn't natural, even though we're not describing science, we're describing natural law. But there we go. It seems that I'm not allowed to answer because Ranty's going to talk over me mid-sentence as well.
Because you said
I'm still in the middle of that sentence, Ranty. It seems that I'm not allowed to give an answer, that it's not satisfactory. 5 words are all I'm given by you and Arwen and everyone else. So, I tell you what, I'll duck out, Ranty. Just tell me what you want to tell me and I won't respond ever.
Well, I'm going to say that you've at least said 10 times that tyre pressure is a container. And I'm going to say that's man-made.
Okay, and in this particular discussion, I was told by Spurs, for some reason, that wasn't acceptable because it was man-made. So in this instance, when challenged to give containers, I've very intentionally used natural ones, so that there's no ambiguity that somehow using a tyre that's man-made to describe the effect of a gas which expands in all directions until it presses on the walls of a container, that's not satisfactory suddenly because a man's made it. Well, no worries. I can just come up with 5 that aren't man-made, that do exactly the same thing, that have exactly the same principles. So it's no concern to me. But apparently that's not acceptable, and I've obfuscated a point because I don't declare what the sky is. I don't claim to know what the sky is. I just undo the claim that... Ranty, am I not allowed to answer? I'm not allowed to give an expansive answer here, right, Ranty? It's you that said that, this isn't conducive, right? But it's you that's rumpusing me while I'm trying to answer you. So I'd just like to give an unimpeded, full response, which is to say that when I'm told that because I don't declare what the sky is, that somehow that's obfuscating the point, when what I'm actually attempting to do by describing gas expanding in all directions is give a description that debunks the assertion that the sky is a vacuum. I don't need to claim what gives us gas pressure. I make no claims about the sky. I'm very particular about not doing that for this very reason, because I don't know. What I do know is that it's not a vacuum, because the gas would fill the space when it expands in all directions and has no container to bounce off.
Right, okay. So the reason that I think people instruct you is because you take about a minute to very carefully go through from start to finish what you're trying to say. Whereas I will answer something or ask a question that takes 10 seconds. You will take a minute to respond. And it gets frustrating when we're listening to you go over the same stuff from start to finish like we haven't heard it before. So when I try to interrupt to say something, which is essentially something like, okay, the container that you've just listed, these natural containers, this lung and such, you can dissect them. You can take them out of the elephant, you can take them out of the dead corpse, and you can analyze that container. You can see what it's made of, you can touch it, you can feel it, you can blow it up, you can release it, you can do whatever you want, put air pressure into it, take it out, right? That is what you can do. You can't do that to the atmosphere of the Earth. So that's what we're saying. And that's what I think Spurs is saying. And all this, okay, we need to hinge everything that all our debates on this one question about whether, you know, the astronauts can go up there, you know, is like, it's literally a house of cards ready to crumble if that argument falls. So I know what you're saying. On the Earth and the containers that you're discussing, we need containers. We need 4 walls or a complete circumference encompassing that air, right? But you cannot judge that with the natural air that we breathe, where it's going around the atmosphere, because it's a different type of atmosphere.
And you can't say it's pressurized, because that would entail somebody is pushing air into this enclosed system, okay, and pressurizing it, keeping it at a particular equilibrium.
Yeah, something is. Yeah, something is.
What is? That's a big claim there.
Just makes me blatantly aware that no one pays attention to anything that's said on the show. So we have cycles. Hydrogen cycle, hydrological cycle, carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle. What do you think they are?
Okay, so what's the pressure? What's the rate?
Sorry, you're not answering me. You're not answering me. What are they?
No, I agree with you. They're gases that are being pumped out.
They're gases. So something pumping gases into the system then, like you've just said we don't have.
But is it
sorry, Spurs, I'm still talking. See, Ranty, when I say something, it obliterates the nonsense assertions that people like Spurs say. Sometimes it takes more than 10 seconds. But in this instance, I've got quite a comprehensive answer that shits on his crappy assertion that we're not being blown up by gases when we absolutely are. They're being produced at ground level. It's the very reason. It's, you see, just too short, not concise enough when I'm describing the very physical nature of the production of gases at ground level. Because of course that's really simple. It only takes 4 words. My God, you all that impatient that you want to declare that we don't get blown up by gases when we do, Spurs? Yeah, we do. Yeah, we've got cycles. The gases are produced at ground level. That's why we have a gradient.
Yeah, so we have pressure. We have gas, but is that gas pressurized? That's the key. But what's the pressure then?
Paul can answer that because he had it on
Going around in circles. Going around in circles with him asking me what it is. It's the force that it presses on a wall. PSI, pounds per square inch, of any instance where we have pressure. It's called an antecedent. The necessary antecedent for gas pressure is the walls to press upon. That's where you get the measurement. You see, it just doesn't seem to matter. It doesn't seem to matter how concisely I want to say something. I'm gonna get interrupted. Yeah? So the PSI bit, the bit we start with, Spurs, the quantification is the container that you're going to be getting the I value from. The per square inch of the container it presses on.
I'm going to disagree with something he said. He's gone actually now. He's gone.
Jesus. Paul had it on the screen. I came specifically about that, and then I saw Paul sharing it on the screen.
All right, we're going to round out for a break anyway. So with that, I will say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who have tuned in live on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream for smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum, which you should definitely join. A massive thank you to all of today's live panel for making this debate possible. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Or the chamber.
You're talking about the arm chamber?
Yeah.
The guy who's arm in the chamber, yeah. That would be evidence to me that you can feel the lack of pressure. But
Absolutely.
Is my mic working now? Sorry, is my mic working now?
Yeah, we can hear you, Flatzoid.
Yo, it was frustrating. I just wanted to wring his neck.
It's no, I like Spurs a lot, and he generates some interesting conversations. I actually completely agree with Ranty. It's a concept that maybe people haven't considered. You've got to question everything. And he's saying, do we even have pressure? Well, as ridiculous as that is, it's an admirable thought process to at least entertain. Yes, it's ludicrous, but I agree with Ranty.
I don't think it's ludicrous. I think it's got merit.
Can I jump in? I was trying to be patiently waiting.
Go on, Paul.
One thing Spurs said that I disagreed with, that you need constant interjecting of pressure to maintain the pressure. That's not true, because a scuba tank, you can inject a lot of pressure into it, and it doesn't need a constant influx of pressure to maintain the pressure. Just the container itself will maintain the pressure. So you don't need an influx of pressure in that. The other thing is, and I think this is maybe where he's trying to go at one level, but I don't know if it's fully where he's going. For a force to be applied, you need energy to apply, or for force to work, which means I'm applying energy through my arm to push against something. So you need energy in the process. So I think you need to pressurize a system. You need energy influx to pressurize that system at some level. And to me, there's an initial. To me, why do we have gas pressure? Well, there's a necessary antecedent. You need someone to pressurize the system, just like
exactly, Paul. Exactly.
Yes.
Who is pressurized?
Hold on. Wait a minute. I'm not done. Just like you have when I pressurize a scuba tank, there's someone applying energy to pressurize that system. That does not talk about gravity. There's no gravity involved in that process. It's just someone is injecting energy into that system. And I would say the person that did that would be God. God energized the system and pressurized the system. So why do we have gas pressure? God.
Paul, this is the thing you see.
Understand what a dynamic
have gravity.
Is.
Flat earthers can't argue pressure unless they have a cause of that pressure. This would just be a religious argument, which is why they have to be very clear. If they're going to go with the gradient, well, that's just a made-up, idea that they just have to fit their agenda. How can we measure this pressure? Because obviously, if something is being, let's say, for example, a volcano erupts, the smoke goes up. You'd have to be able to measure the pressure of that smoke when it hits the roof of something. You would be able to know the force, right? Otherwise, it would just be expanding with zero pressure. You see?
Okay.
Now,
Spurs,
we've been told.
Let me say something real quick before you jump too far. You go onto a rant. Okay, to measure something, you need a device to do that of some kind. We've already just talked about a barometer can be barometric, that measures barometric pressure. I was also showing a video, I don't know if you saw it, of a man that had his arm inside of a vacuum chamber. So you can actually feel the lack of pressure. So even from a physiological standpoint. So you're talking about I don't know where you're going with this, but even the necessary antecedent for any kind of gradient pressure is pressure itself, or some kind of container in that. So it has to be still contained.
Yeah, but that's what he's trying to say.
Think about it. The only gradient
that you mentioned, you can dissect.
It's a temperature gradient.
Hold on, Spurs. Go on,
But the containers that you can put pressure into can be dissected, or you can build them. Right, so you can physically get your hands around them and check them out, see what's causing it. Oh yeah, we've got walls around this. That's what's holding the pressure in. Right, with the atmosphere and the sky and the air up there, we can't get high enough to know that's the case.
I
We
agree,
don't know
Ranty.
how that applies.
Let me just
to
address
natural
Ranty.
law.
I just want to address Ranty. Hold on. You're right, Ranty. Right, and this is for the very specific reason that I don't claim to know what the sky is. But there are people out there that just making all the bloody noise.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Ranty. It's you. We're on the conversation. That's fair enough. Okay, so I've lost my train of thought now.
You don't claim to know what the sky is.
Right, exactly. But you do, Brenda. You claim it's a vacuum. So I can destroy that argument based on the properties of gas, which expands in all directions. So the container bit, the necessary antecedent bit, is the reason we have gas pressure in the first instance. Without the container, there can be no pressure. Conspiracy Cats, 2019. So it's a simple
but you claim that there's pressure, and pressure requires a container. Therefore, you can know that we live inside of a container.
Well, you could assert that. I don't know what the sky is. So the assertion that the sky is a vacuum is debunked by the notion that gases expand in all directions. And if there's only a void for them to expand into, they will.
Yes, but you say that there's you have to say that we live in a container.
I don't have to say anything of the sort. I can say that by demonstration, I can prove that the necessary antecedent for gas pressure is a container. So by demonstration, I can prove that you need a container to have gas pressure. I can't prove what the sky is, but I can demonstrate that you need a container to have gas pressure. Now, if you can demonstrate that that's not true, and that the sky is actually conforming to your demonstrations that don't have a container, then I might accept that the sky is a vacuum. That's the point of this argument.
Can I address something to Randy?
Your claim, Nathan, is it true, Nathan, that you can't have pressure without a container?
It's a necessary antecedent.
Right. It's true that you can't have pressure without a container.
It is the
we experience pressure.
Antecedent.
We experience pressure, right? Just standing on the ground, you experience pressure. You can measure it. Therefore, there must be a container.
That's a fairly reasonable, logical syllogism. Yes.
Yes. So that's so you do know that we live inside of a container.
I do. Yes, I do. We live in a container.
I would assert exactly as you have declared. You were very accurate. Thank you, Brenda. However, I do not declare what the sky is in spite of people around me doing so. I don't.
Well, you know that there's a container.
I can infer by natural law that there must be something for the gas to press upon in order for it to have pressure. Yes, I would assert it in those words. Would I say the sky is a dome? No. Would I assert in any way that I know what the sky is or what it's doing? No, because I don't.
Yes, you do. You can know. It's a container. It's holding in the gas pressure.
The sky's not a container.
See, this is the problem. When the ball earther and the flat earther have the same idea, okay, now you have to describe what is that force, this magical force. Is it the dome? Is it gravity? And for all we know, these particles could just go in.
Hold on, Spurs, one claim at a time. Spurs, please don't make your declarations, then just carry on babbling indefinitely. We don't need to declare.
Objects will move the way they move.
We
right?
don't
they'll always find it.
Why am I being
They'll find their equilibrium in some sort of way. What boggles my mind is why we even need.
Who's the guy that doesn't seem to understand that when I'm talking, I don't want him talking? Yeah, just wait, mate. We don't need to make that declaration, Spurs. We don't need to make that claim. We can just disprove their assertion that it's a vacuum. They are making a positive assertion, and we can debunk it by way of describing the properties of gas. Simple. We don't need to make any claims about what the sky... We don't need to make any claims about what the sky is, because we don't know. But we can declare, based on the principles of what gas does, expand in all directions, that unless it presses on something, it's just going to carry on expanding into their claim that the sky is a massive void. Simple. We can declare what it isn't.
I don't know why you deny the very fact that the Earth must be inside of a container. Given your own logic, you make a positive claim that you can't have pressure without a container. We can measure pressure, therefore we must be in a container. That's simply logic.
I agree. It's a reasonable, logical syllogism. I don't
Must
disagree.
be a container.
Well, I don't disagree. I just don't assert that I know what the sky is, because I don't.
I think what Spurs
You
is trying
do
to say
know.
is that
You
we are
know.
told, we are told that
I want to
we
hear
have
Brenda.
gas-
Sorry, Ranty. Sorry, Spurs. Go on,
Yeah.
Brenda.
You do know. You know that there is a container. Because that is a necessary logical deduction of your previous claims.
Can I add something?
Go ahead.
I'd like to finish what I was going to do.
Fair enough, Paul. You were in the queue. My bad. Go ahead, Paul. Then whoever it was that spoke, please can you go next after Paul?
I don't know if you see my screen, but I'm actually showing natural bubbles occurring from the ocean floor. And from this, you can actually determine one thing about this so-called container. I don't know what the nature of it is, but you can determine even from this right here that it has to be denser than the gas that is containing. Now, we don't know what that is because the water here is containing the air, so the water is more dense than the air, and it's containing the bubble. But that's all I was going to say. And so, Ranty, could you break down the membrane of this bubble that's on the screen? Can you break it down and just dissect it, or was it just containing it?
Hey, could I just get one question here for Nathan?
I just want you can
Nathan,
just, you just want to wait for Ranty's response because it's directed at Ranty.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, that isn't pressurized, it's leaking. And we don't know where it's coming from. All we're seeing is bubbles come up from the floor. So there's no way of determining whether that is a pressurized anything underneath there.
Well,
so you're saying the bubble
has to be pressurized.
Right? Hold on, Brenda. Sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
So you're saying the bubble is not pressurized? The bubble rising to the surface?
I see bubbles going up. It doesn't mean that they've been pressurized.
So
Can you tell me where they've come from? Can you tell me where they've come from?
I don't know where the bubbles are coming from. I'm talking about the bubbles specific, not what caused the bubble.
Well, that's what I mean. If you don't know where they've come from, how can you say that it's come from a container?
No, the bubble is a container.
What?
The bubble is a
The
container.
bubbles under water,
You're talking about the
trapped
individual bubble.
Yeah.
Paul's just giving you an example. I'm sorry to talk over you, Paul. Paul's giving you an example of a container. That's it. That's all he's doing.
The water is containing the bubble, the air.
So how many containers do you see here?
Hold on. Is it really? Hold on. Whoa. Is it really containing it, or is there the water? The air is trying to escape. It's not really containing. It's not holding it, is it, Paul?
Yeah, it is.
It's trying to escape. So it's not being held, is it?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it is. Anyway, Ranty, Paul, are you two done? Any more for any more? If not, there's a guy in Discord waiting.
Yeah, let the Discord guy go.
Paul?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay, fine. Whoever it was, I'm sorry.
I say containers. So go ahead.
It was Haunted House wanted to talk.
Go ahead, Haunted House.
Hey, what's up, Nathan? If you had one question for one of the scientists, one of the employees down at the Columbia Balloon Research Facility, what would it be? Because I'm going to be speaking to one of them later.
You're going to meet some who? Who are you meeting?
I'm going to be speaking to one of the guys at the Columbia Scientific Balloon Research Facility. They're the guys who send up the big, 8,000-pound payload balloons, and hang up the iridium antennas and
well,
that's what
only
they do. They research radiation and stuff like that. But
depends on your answer to the next question. Are they in any way affiliated with NASA?
they do have some affiliation with them.
Yeah, in that case.
But I've spoken to the guy once. Hopefully, I don't get the same guy. And I just kind of threw some questions at him just to hear what he would say.
Ask him if he was aware that many of the satellites claimed to be in space are documented as having gone up on balloons.
Say that again.
Ask him if he is aware that many of the satellites, in quotes, that are claimed to be in the vacuum of space were actually sent up on balloons, and this is documented by NASA. Ask him if he was aware of that.
Yeah, that's. He'll say no because that's complete nonsense.
Well, they do send up satellites, actually, Brenda. They do. This is what he told me, and it makes a lot of sense because to broadcast, you need to be up high to get higher, better line of sight for communications.
Yeah, satellites on balloons, like in The Simpsons when they take the piss out of the Fox satellite, and it's just like a trash can hanging on a few balloons.
Yeah, they can get him. He was telling me that they can hang him up there for like 3 months tops.
Tell them you want them to measure the pressure up there. How do they measure the pressure, and how do they calibrate it at 0? So we want an actual measurement from the ground, the pressure, and then we want to see a decrease in pressure as it goes up and up and up. Can they show that? Yeah, is it possible to get a reading of the?
Well, the thing with this facility is.
Oh God! Ask them how you can have gas pressure without a container. The balloon guys. Ask them that. That should send them on a tizzy for about 80 minutes.
Yeah, they don't allow for emails in or out, so there's nothing really I can't get any photographs. I can't get any data from them either.
Did you catch that question, Jonathan? That was far better than mine.
Yeah, I'll ask him.
How do you have gas pressure?
He says that a lot of the things that do go up are satellites. You know, they're controlled, and
he doesn't have to say it. We exposed that 3.5 years ago on Robert Pisano's channel. Go back and watch that video.
You have a link to that, please?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I do. 1 second. Let me see if I can get it. Yeah, hold on a second.
I remember you
Maybe
were on
we could play it.
And he did the thing with the. I posed as a teacher. As a high school teacher.
Okay, listen. When you talk in
give me
here,
some tips
it's
about
kind
sending
of.
a balloon.
Oh my goodness! Why do you drone on and on about absolutely nothing? Why do people do that?
What are you talking about?
And close the gate. Oh, I have to go to a high school teacher.
Can I get my
Don't do
question
that.
in?
Say your point and then stop.
Anyway, I want to pass this link to Brenda.
Hold on a second. We might want to play this at some point.
I'll play it now. Robert Pisano's cool, right?
Yeah, he's cool.
Snake in the grass.
It might be a little.
Didn't he kill some guy in Denver?
Kill some guy?
Can I get my
What the
question
fuck?
in a minute?
Hold on a second.
Yeah,
I want to hear the end of that.
He wanted to kill Bob Nodell's kid.
No,
He's a
what
psychopath.
the hell are you talking about?
Oh, you didn't
I
hear
know
that recording?
Robert personally. That shit never happened. That never came out of his mouth.
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did actually.
He told the guy.
What did?
He told the guy who runs an antediluvian channel. He told him that he was
Go
going to
ahead,
shoot
post
Bob.
it. Go ahead,
shoot
post the
Bob
link.
Nodell's
Yeah,
son.
I've got a copy of it on my channel, John. It's true.
All right, post the link. Send it to me.
I'll dig it out.
Say you were wrong, John.
Say again?
Say you were wrong.
He hasn't been
They were
shown it
wrong.
yet.
I'm not wrong yet.
He's not wrong yet, but he is.
I'm waiting for the apology. I'm all ears.
Look, Robert Pisano and I have very similar temperaments, right? He gets very fiery and very aggressive and says things that he no doubt regrets. Now, while he did say those things, I'm in no doubt whatsoever that, knowing the context and the backstory, that he had any intention of actually killing somebody. In the respect that you could say, I'm going to kill you, and not mean it. Even in anger. Not a potential murderer.
Sure. This is what Nathan. This is what the hangout was about before. You know, about crazy flat earthers making it fucking hard for anyone to have a conversation. And shit like that, man. There's plenty of it.
Yeah, and back in the day...
Can I ask my question yet?
You can, yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. All I'm just, are we in agreement that there is a pressure?
No, we're not, unfortunately, as ridiculous as it is to claim that.
No. You'll have some flat earthers agreeing with you that there is a gradient, but then all they're doing is making a rod for their own back. Because now, what is that force? What is this control? We don't have an explanation for this. We do. You have to accept that.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I've just given it you. I've given it about 5 times. We don't have. It's just declared, Runty, that we don't have an explanation for what causes this force. Yes, we do. The gas the particles, they expand in all directions. And when they hit something, the amount that they hit a square inch of that surface is the quantification given mathematically as gas pressure in whatever arbitrary number you want to apply to it. That's how we do it. So you saying we don't know how to, it's just nonsense, Spurs. It's really irritating. It's not true. We do know.
So I think what
I'm
you're
not
trying
going
to
to
say
accept
is...
that, Nathan, until you or any other flat earther can an actual demonstration with a device, with a sensor that senses the pressure. How is this happening?
What the heck is he talking about, Nathan?
It's basically denying that there is gas pressure. In Spurs made a claim earlier that there is no pressure gradient, only temperature differentials. I asked him to back his claim and he said, I don't understand what you mean.
Pressure and temperature are connected at the lips forever when talking about pressure, and specifically gas pressure. So what
I'm not going to put up. Look, you've been talking to me. I've heard from you guys for the longest time about religious beliefs, right? About demonstrations. Now, if you're going to say the same thing to me that you've been telling everyone
Stop
not to do,
You just shut up.
What in the world are you talking about, sir?
Right, can I just say
if you're going to say to me, John, if you're saying to me there is...
Is this working?
Yeah, it is ranty.
Hello? Hello, is anybody there? Hello? Right, can I just say something?
Why can't...
Right?
You can,
It's
but
like-
this Darren guy is he's desperately trying to round out his point with Spurs and everyone's rumpusing the crap out of him. Go ahead, Darren.
Yeah, sorry. My question is really, if I was to walk up Mount Everest, I would struggle to breathe. So obviously the air is thinner. So there must be a...
Almost too concise.
Yeah, everybody knows there's a pressure gradient, and that refutes the flat Earth claim that we live under a dome.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, so my point is then, if there is a pressure differential between 14 psi at ground level, sea level, and you go up Everest and it's obviously a lot thinner, then surely that would transition to zero oxygen and then turn into a vacuum. So can't there be a transition between the two without there being a dome?
No, that violates the second law of thermodynamics.
How?
I think some of you must go and study thermal expansion.
How
does
does
a
it
pressure
violate
how
the
does a
second
pressure
law of
gradient-
thermodynamics? Because
Yeah,
gases
how?
will attempt to fill the given volume and increase entropy. That's how.
Unless otherwise acted upon by a force.
No, I never heard that. Post cite the definition. Cite it.
So the presence of
No,
a
no.
gradient
Cite
proves
it.
that there
Brenda,
must be.
Brenda, I'm going to
proves
give
that
you
there
one
must
chance. Brenda, one chance. We're not going to spend 15 minutes with us saying 15 times citation. Your claim is that unless acted on by a force, entropy. That's your claim.
Yeah, an outside force. Yes.
Yeah, so cite it. Where does it say that? Give us a citation.
It's just a natural consequence
No.
of the second law.
No. Don't just declare it. We want you to cite it.
Yeah.
Last chance. Then I just shut you up from the conversation because I'm not doing this for 15 minutes again. Either you cite it and say, okay, give me 5 minutes, I'll go and get it. Or I have to kick you out because you keep saying it over and over again rather than citing it.
It's
And it has
simply
to
a
be-
fact.
Hold on, it has to be specific with gases.
It's a fact.
Yes, it is.
Well, it's not
Yes.
a citation, is it?
That we can't
Yeah,
validate.
it's just
Because
a
you won't give us
logical consequence of the
No,
second
it's
law.
not.
Right, Brenda's
it's
no
not.
longer involved in the conversation. Bye-bye, Brenda. Next time, bring a citation. Don't just make
Thank
baseless
God.
assertions.
Pete, you can't do the same to Spurs.
So why can't we all just get along? Hashtag same team.
Oh, we do, John, we do, but there are just slight misunderstandings when it comes to the ball earther argument and our argument. Now, we know that pressure needs a force.
What?
What?
How can you have pressure
Pressure is
without
a
a force?
I thought it didn't exist.
Pressure.
I thought it
Pressure
didn't
need a
exist
force.
for chemo.
So that means the molecules. Let's say for example, the molecules leave the tree, carbon dioxide or whatever, leaves the tree. You'll say that it goes directly to your face, and you feel like a direct pressure from those molecules.
Nobody
that
said
doesn't
that.
happen, does it? We don't feel
Nobody said
any
that.
pressure.
Nobody claimed that. You just made that shit up.
What is he
Be
talking
clear
about?
then. This is the problem, then, Nathan. With your explanation, with no demonstration, I can only go by what you imagine it to be.
What do you mean, no
if something
demonstration? Demonstration of what?
If
Gas
something
pressure. But he thinks we can't
a
demonstrate gas
sensor.
pressure.
We're off the rails, man.
Can I say something?
Isn't every single pressure man-made?
I just want to address something with John, because this is a situation where the argument is so potty that I literally can't quite fathom how to address it.
Go ahead.
I don't know what to do. I'm asking for help. I don't know what to do with him.
That's why I came in.
What's that? What's the problem? What's the claim?
His claim is gas pressure isn't real. We can't demonstrate it. I can't show it. Therefore, it's a fundy belief like gravity. That's his claim.
Has he heard of a barometer?
It's because
he's heard all.
That's why.
Hold on, he's heard all of this.
Can I throw out the word barometer?
Oh
Why
my
not
God!
Cavendish?
I didn't think that would.
Yeah, just the word barometer. This is
Hold on
what
a second.
happens.
What is the
Let's
double
just shut
standard?
everybody up. So yeah, you just have to mention something that completely undoes his argument, and suddenly 15 people will start talking, and he'll rumpus the living shit out of everything. That's like, well, what's wrong with that?
You're saying registers the pressure. Excuse me. Hello. What's the experiment? Where's the phenomena? What pressure are you talking about?
Okay, let me respond.
Let me respond.
Spurs. Let me respond. We're not talking about experiments. We're talking about natural laws. They are not the same thing. Natural laws do not go through the scientific method. You're not establishing cause. It's a natural law. It simply holds true always.
I can't even believe you're speaking like this. You're just saying things like, we just have to accept that something is real, even though we can't measure it, we can't test it, we can't feel it. Just accept it.
What the hell are you talking about?
We can, Spurs. We can. The fact that
Can I
they've
say
told
something,
you,
Spurs?
or you've got this idea from somebody that we can't prove gas pressure's a thing, is beyond me. I don't understand why you've got this idea, but you have, and I don't know what to do with you.
This is on the level of water being a single.
Nathan, I'm going to say what you say to every ball earther. If you're just going to assert something without any demonstration, then it's just a belief.
Oh, goodness
yeah, that's
gracious.
what I've got that from you.
This is
You
like
say that
Arwen
time
said.
and time again. If
Like
you're going
Arwen
to
said, we're
assert,
done with you, Spurs. You're lucky I'm not in there. This is on the level of water as an element. This is the level that we're at. So.
We're talking about a pressure, a force that we cannot measure.
Am I going to have to
measure
go
it.
in there?
But can I
can.
say something now?
How many times have we got to say we can measure it?
And show me how you measure it then.
Stop this.
I mean, then we say barometer, and you suddenly will rumpus the shit out of us.
Yeah.
I've said that a barometer from factory setting, you build a barometer, who calibrates it at 0? Who calibrates it at 14.7? How does the pressure pad just read 14.7?
The barometer is not a phenomena. It measures
Spurs.
the phenomena.
It's arbitrary. It's arbitrary. It's completely arbitrary. You're just describing something. Like mathematics, describe something. You're just describing it.
He's not going to respond to you, so don't address him anymore.
Fine.
So,
Can-
I sent the...
can
Hold
I
on
say
a second.
Hold on. Go on, John.
I am responding to you. Why am I not responding to you? Of course I'm responding to you. I'm
Timo,
saying
I'll tell
to
you,
that...
tell you what?
Go on, John.
Who keeps unmuting him?
Not
I'll
me.
ban your ass.
It's not
Who
me.
keeps unmuting him?
Not me. Just get your piece out.
Go ahead, do it again. Okay, goodbye.
I don't know what's
That'll
going
do
on.
it. Try to unmute him. Try to unmute him now.
I don't know what's going on. What are you? Who are you talking to?
Yeah, while I'm sitting in here in Discord, I muted him and deafened him, and then he come off unmute and deaf every single time.
Okay, I don't know why.
Well, he isn't coming off mute now. So, I sent that video to you, Robert Pisano's.
Okay, perfect.
Now, it's time stamped. and it might be I didn't look at how long it was. It's not going to be all that long. I'll tell you when to stop. But we can go to. Can I share my screen? Let's have a little preface to this. How about that? Is that all right?
Yeah.
All right. Tell me when it's up.
It'll take me a couple of seconds.
Yeah, no problem. Let me go.
Can I just quickly say?
Okay, let me go.
You can just quickly say if it is just quickly, because it's taken me a few seconds to set stuff up. So go ahead.
The problem with having Spurs on there and Brenda is that it just distracts from actually getting out the proof. You know, just constantly them arguing amongst themselves. It's just getting absolutely.
Fair enough. Okay, you're up.
1 second, Nathan. I gotta do something. 1 second.
That's what you were trying to say something too, bro.
What was that, Chocolate?
No, I think Flat Soy was trying to say something for a while too. Was trying to look out for him.
There's a gap, Flatzoid, if you wanna get a word in.
Yeah, it's a short gap. I'm done.
Flatzoid? No, maybe not.
I tried.
Thanks,
All right. So, satellites on balloons. Somebody said that there weren't satellites on balloons. Really? What the hell are these? Can you tell me that? Probably CGI, right? Looks like satellites on balloons here to me. Yeah, that looks like.
Get rid of that box in the top right.
Oh, I'll go back. What's that?
Just get rid of that box. Yeah, just annoying.
Yeah, I hate that thing. So yeah, satellites on balloons, right? This is pretty cut and dry at this point. I can't believe we went over this like 3.5 years ago and people are still having problems with this. So those are just pictures. Let's get some cowbell. So if you can run that video, Nathan, I can't see it, so or hear it. So you're gonna have to. Can you share that with me so I can tell you when to
Same
stop?
satellite, because here's what I'm going to take you to next. This is the list of all balloon launches from the Esrange Space Center in Sweden. Okay, now let me take you to the Swedish Space Center. And here is the Swedish Space Center website. It's in the description section of this live chat session. This is the Swedish Space Center. And as you can see, they have balloons and rockets, payloads. This is their website. This is their website. Swedes, the Swedes, okay? It's the Swedes. Here's their space center. They do balloon launches. Now let me take you to the document I downloaded from their website. Now, this is a list of balloon launches from the Esrange Space Center starting December 9th of 1982. Remember that term, SAMOS? Okay, here we go. History of satellite reconnaissance, right? This was declassified May 7th of 2012. All right, these flights took place somewhere between 63, 65, 72. But again, I don't get too focused on the date and time frames. I just want you to see how long these programs have been in existence, okay? I want you to see how long these programs have been in existence. You can read these documents for yourselves. We don't need to keep going through all this stuff together. I put a lot of this shit out for you people so that you can see this. You see they talk about weather satellite program, mapping satellite program, realignment controversy, new directions in satellite reconnaissance, okay? But let me take you to this document, which is very important from the Swedes. This is not US oriented. I got this from a foreign country, okay? So you look at some of the launches. These are balloon launches, people. These ain't fucking rockets. It says it. List of balloon launches. So I want to go down this list and I want you guys to see something very, very fucking interesting. It may shock a shitload of you. It should shock fucking all of you. It didn't shock me because I've been known about this program for a long time. Okay? And I want you to see something important. There's going to be some things here that you may see that are going to catch your eye. All right? Because I want you to look. You see the campaign, you look at the payload. All right? You got campaigns and payloads. And we're not going to go through all these codes, but you're going to see something that's going to catch your attention. All right? We're going to keep going through this. All right? Keep going through it. You're going to see something that's going to catch your fucking attention, that's going to blow your mind. I want this right here. I know this. This is a satellite. I'm going to take you to this too. There's a video of it online. Anybody want to search this right now? Type this in. ELHYSA. Echo Lima Hotel Yankee Sierra Alpha 3. Type that in to YouTube right now to see if you can type that in -satellite, and I guarantee you'll pull up the video for this fucking thing right now. But let's keep going through this so I can show this to you. You see this, people? What does that say? Mir. That's the Mir fucking module. That's the Mir space module that's supposed to be attached to the fucking ISS right now. That's the Mir space module. February 24th, 1997. Here goes another one. Mir. March 17th, 1997. Mir. Okay? I want you to see these things. All right? I want you to see these things. Let me take you to another one here, because there's let me hang on. Let me see. Here we go. Two more. Mir. February 18th, February 19th, 1999. Mir. It's the Mir space module, people. On a balloon. The Mir space module on a fucking balloon. The ISS does not exist complete the way they show it on television. Here goes another one. Mir on a balloon. What they are showing you of the space station is a fucking computer-generated image. They are not showing you the complete fucking module put together, flying at 17,000 miles an hour for fucking 15 years. Here you go. Look at this. Support Mir. They sent up a support balloon to resupply the Mir on a fucking balloon. On a balloon, people. Look at this. Orion. Orion payload. Look at here. Inmarsat. You want to know where your satellite phone communications come from? Fucking balloon. A balloon, people. A balloon. I'll supply this document to whoever wants it. Here we go. Inmarsat test. Balloon. If you were to take time to search every single one of these flights to match it up with a particular rocket launch that they claim this fucking thing was on, I guarantee you, you will be able to compare it with this Swedish Esran Space Center balloon flight list. Balloon flight list. Balloons, people. That's your program. It's always been your program. Look at this. Mir short duration. Mir VLD. You got two VLD. And look at here. More Mir. This is in 2002, people. 2002. For those in Europe, you ever heard of Enviasat? Look at Enviasat. Enviasat. These things are supposed to be testing the atmosphere for particulates and, for pollution control. Balloons, people. You can't come to any other conclusion. You don't have any other information to prove you were at the launch pad and you saw them put this fucking thing inside the nose cone of a rocket. You didn't see it. I don't give a fuck who you work for. You can work for NASA, you can work for the fucking Germans, you can work for the Russians. You did not see what you thought you saw going into a fucking nose cone of a capsule and with an unedited fucking video stream and put on a launch pad and launched into the fucking sky on a rocket, on a fucking missile, a bomb. You didn't see that because it didn't fucking happen. Look at NASA. Why is NASA using the Swedish to launch a fucking balloon for them? Think about that. They're everywhere, people. They got relationships with all these fucking space agencies. They're carrying out the deception, the fraud, the hoax, the scam, the bullshit. It's all here. It's all here, people. I keep saying it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. You can talk about it all day long. You can claim this is your theory, this is your hypothesis. You ain't got no documentation to fucking back it up. You just want to show some bullshit video and you're not a videographer and you don't know how to do video analysis. You got to get the documentation. And here's the documentation right here. NASA, 2011, LED, ESO, high wind. Just check these out. Because I've checked out all of this shit. NASA, 2003, 2013, Sunrise 2. Look at that. Balloon, people. That's a complete list. It goes all the way to 2014. 2014, people. 2014. There you have it. There you have it, people. I don't know what else to tell you. I really don't know what else to tell you. Here goes another fucking balloon launch. Check this out. Just check this shit out. Check this shit out. Another satellite being launched from Antarctica. Check this out. You're going to love this one. That's Antarctica, people. Remember how we saw that circular launch pad? The bulldozer is smoothing out the ice and snow. Look at this. Just wait and see. Watch this. This is McMurdo Station in the background. McMurdo is right back here. They have line of sight to this airstrip. Just look at this. This is your billion, trillion dollar fucking satellite program. A goddamn fucking balloon. A balloon, people. There goes fucking $20-30 million on a balloon. It's not inside a fucking rocket nose cone. There you go. Woohoo! Woohoo! Yay! Now you want to know what NASA is spending all that fucking money for? On helium? NASA has spent a shitload of money on helium. So you got to ask yourself, what the fuck is all that helium for, right? You think, okay, maybe it's for the vacuum chamber. They're doing all kinds of testing. No bullshit. That fucking helium is for their fucking balloon program. What else would you use fucking helium for? What would you use helium for? You use fucking helium to fucking float.
It's at 18,000 feet right now.
Come on, people. This common sense. This common fucking logic.
Okay, the payload is now at 105,000 feet.
Look at that. 105,000 feet.
Quite well, even with the naked eye. It's nice and well inflated now.
So based on the size of that balloon,
Well, we're at about 120,000 feet.
look at that. So these things got to get to at least 150, maybe 100, maybe they can get to about 180,000 feet. But at nighttime, see this fucking thing. You're not going to see it. You're not going to see the satellite. Period. You're just not going to fucking see it. So let's do this. Let's go to Lockheed Martin's website. I want to show you the capability of the U-2.
You can stop it, Nathan. Yeah, that's fine.
Perfect. Yeah, I've seen it before. Obviously, it's on about 50,000 views. So, yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. And who was that for?
That was mostly for Brenda. She said she was the one that said that was nonsense.
Right.
Now, what was all the hubbubaloo up earlier? What's the problem with the gas pressure?
Well, if Ranty's still around, Ranty was kind of siding with Spurs, so maybe you can summarise it. Ranty, you there? If Ranty doesn't summarise it, I'm going to round out.
What, something about containers?
The meat of the argument is that every example that you can give of a container, this is how it started, is man-made. So I gave a few natural containers, lungs. And
So what?
yeah,
The container's not the issue. It doesn't matter the container's man-made or not. It's oh my god. It's a logical consequence of the second law of thermodynamics. The second law of thermodynamics doesn't mention containers in it, okay? It's a logical consequence of the increase in entropy of gases. They will attempt to fill the space. Well, how do you stop them from filling that entire space or volume? With a container, right? You got the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yeah, basically, it seemed to me, I don't know if Spurs is still around or not, but it seemed to me that he's pushed into a position where he's having to justify the argument which revolves around the second law of thermodynamics. And the argument in that regard speaks directly to the sky vacuum. So there's an assertion, a very positive assertion, that the sky is a vacuum where men travel to and satellites fly around a presupposed sphere Earth. Now the second law of thermodynamics, which is essentially talking about entropy, and entropy would be the gas expanding in all directions, as John describes, until it hits something. Well, forget the container, that speaks directly to the sky vacuum. Now the only thing that's going to stop it from dispersing into space is the necessary antecedent for gas pressure, a container, something which they do not have in the heliocentric model. It's an open system. They claim to be travelling to Mars and the Moon and all the rest of it. Well, they can only do so if it's an open system. Ergo, entropy would increase. The gas, which we definitely experience, by virtue of its very nature, is trying to expand in all directions until impeded. And what do they claim impedes it? Well, nothing. A vacuum is the thing between us and where they claim they go to. Well, that's not possible based on the second law of thermodynamics. Entropy would increase, the gas would fill the space. And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who have tuned in on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. A massive thank you to all of today's panel for making this debate possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!